Alright Bruce, now I've got all this set, the steering column and your air conditioner and stuff and your wiper motor where I know it needs to go. Now it's time to do this blend on this dash. Now I can't just throw this dash in here and put these parts in here and button all this up because it's just going to all look out of place. I've got to design all this stuff around each other and try to blend them together the best as possible. So I had to raise the dash a little bit because the steering column dictated where it had to be. I got it as low as I could and still maintain your tilt and location and all that. So this kind of dictated that this has to go up just a little bit, maybe 3/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to tilt it a little bit and bring this up towards your face. And I think that's going to work out. So, but in moving this, it's going to move the trim, it's going to move the rubber. So I've got to start at the rubber and blend it, blend the trim, blend the top of the dash. It's looking like I still have this thing removable. So that would be very helpful in later on. So I'm going to try to maintain the removability of it. Let's make it to where this plenum here for your defrosting air, it's not going to fit, it's just too big. So I'm probably going to have to hand make something out of this, out of metal, I don't know, or whittle this down some more. Turning the dash, it's got the radio turned up a little bit, and that's crowded my air conditioner, so I've sliced this, and I'm going to scoot this up just a little bit and then blend all that back together, and that might help me with that. And I'm hoping to bring the air straight out in like a rectangular box ductwork, and then this be able to slip right over it. And then we'll use these for your air conditioner. It'll just come right out like they did on this old unit. And then I've taken your Ford Explorer controls apart, and I've got those inside here, so I'll just put knobs on it that look old knobs. And then I just have to get, I've got the one that controls the heat and cold. It's on a little board that I'm going to have to send out and get the air conditioner button taken off it and make it remote. And then I'll just move the turn knob for it up here somewhere and then have the push button air right in there. I mean, that's the plan for now. It's subject to change. I went and fabricated you some mounts on the top of the dash here that'll stay on there. And this thing, I believe I can make it still removable. I got all new fresh holes in there, screws, locates at about 1/4 of an inch taller than it did right there. I'm turning it 1 1/16 or maybe 1 1/8 right here. That putting that right in your face. That's making this column, I can go all the way up and down without hitting the dash. And I think it's, when you set it, it's going to ride about right there, which looks good. You'll be able to see all that. But with this where it's at, it's still not enough for my air conditioner plenum. It's kind of large. But I do have some room around this radio. So I've split your dash here and I split it over there. And I have re-leveled your radio because it was turning as your gauges were coming up. And I want the radio set level. It's going to make this look more natural. And I'm doing it to get more clearance in here to see how much of this dude I can use. I'll start whittling stuff off of it and get to the bare flaps if possible. And if that don't work, I'll just make one of these myself out of steel and then have the plenum come out into here and hopefully into there. So the more I do and maneuver right here, the less I have to do right here. So far so good. So now I'm just going here and rig me up some jigs, so I'll tack weld me in some gussets in there. It'll just hold this in this place. I've just got it loose. And then I'll do the same on the sides and then take this back out and then put all that back together. And then do some mounts and stuff. So, so far, so good. Show you what I'm going to do here. I've got your dash set back in there in a relaxed position. I redid your hinge and pivot on that glove box door because the way that mouth is of that opening, as this dash moves around, it changes that mouth, so I got to have it outline that so it's nice and true. And then I've got all that set now and working. And then I'm going to level your radio. I've still got your car level. So I've cut it here and cut it here, and I've turned that back. And I'm fixing to go in here and jig this up and keep that right there. Then the rest of it, I've just got to maintain the edge around this ashtray. And then I'll just kind of start molding all this in while it's up here. And then that way I can get it tacked in place, and it'll be tacked in place and kind of in a relaxed position, and that's what I want. And then probably fit it back in there a few times to make sure nothing moves as I put it together. I'll change the angle of this a little bit, change the angle of that a little bit, and then I'll just have to make do with whatever's left here. But my goal is to get as much room as I can get right up under there for this plenum I got up under there. But I laid this out and planned out how I want to do this cut. So I did 2 cuts to remove this piece right here, and one cut right down the dash that I already had right there. Push that in, level that from here to here. That gets this at a 90 to the floor, which is exactly what I want. You can see how good that fits. I'm going to give you a close-up look at how that fits here, and then I'll show you how it looked before I started. And then that's going to give me much clearance for this, and just be a lot cleaner, more natural look. With these turned and this level, this thing's going to look right at home right there. Right here I want to give you a closer look. So there's the cut I made, and then I just bent all that back. I've got it jigged up inside there, and it's sitting there relaxed. I'm going to do the other side, but you can see how far off and how much that all leans. I'm going to turn all that back to that like I did this side, and that'll be nice. And then I just tack it in place, then pull this out, finish it up, put it back in, make sure it fits, and then the dash will be removable. And if the dash is removable, I could send it and maybe have it wrapped in leather. And that back in place. So all the little jigs and stuff I put inside there, I've got all that welded in solid. Still hadn't done the metal work, sheet metal work. All the bottom of this dash is rusted out, so I'm probably gonna have to put some new pieces all the way across, which is okay. But now you can start seeing how it's looking. I got the radio in 90-degree angle of the floor, so it's perfectly level where it's at, but the gauges are turned, so that's gonna make your dash look more natural in there. Then on your controls, I've taken this apart because it looks too new and modern, and I've installed two of the controls inside here. So we'll put some old school knobs on that, and that's going to control the feet, floor, and what was the other thing? The fan speed on these two. But now and then see, that's going to fit right up in there, and that looks pretty good right there. And then I'll have the floor heat come out the bottom, the AC heat come out these three, and possibly the ones on the sides. So so far so good on that. The headlight switch, it's a little odd, it's a little big, so I'm going to try to, I've taken the body a bit apart, and I've got it down just to this. I'm going to try to put that back in there, and then using an old knob and bezel, maybe something off a headlight switch, that'll just turn this back in there, and it'll pull to have fog lights. So hopefully that'll work out. I got to design and fabricate that. But the one thing that's giving me a little bit of trouble is the heat control. This goes from hot to cold, and it calls your air with these two buttons. It's the one right in the middle, and then it also turns on the rear window defrost, which I won't do that. So I've got a friend that has a phone repair shop, and I'm going to take it to him, see if he can't take this switch and tie me some wires to it where I can make a remote button, and then see about getting rid of some of this other stuff so I can whittle this down a little bit smaller, and then maybe get it up here in the dash, and then your hot and cold air will be controlled right there, and have a little push button for the air. I'd really like to have it down here on the air unit itself, but it's just going to look out of place on this, and the body of it's way too big to fit in this hole, so this one's going to have to go up here or somewhere else. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with it. Depends on what my computer guy says about getting that off there. I got your dash back out, and just want to show you the rust in this vehicle is just killing me. Every time I turn around, I have to spend so much time on restoring a part. But I'll show you, I'll give you a closer look at how much rust and how bad it is right in this area. So I'm fixing to have to fabricate all this stuff and install all this stuff before I can start fabricating the mounts for the dash. I've just done so much of this rust repair. I want to give you a closer look of how bad this is. This is what your post looks like. So you can see how much is gone right there. Just nothing. So I'm gonna have to fabricate all this, and then and redo all this. This is just all busted loose and just nothing there. So I'm fixing to stop on the dash and then go in here and fix this, and then go over and fix the other side. But boy, it was just to eat up.